Yes, and welcome one and all to this beautiful program on Speakology for children 7 to 11 and 12 to 16 in two different batches. And in the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to learn some tips on how to improve speaking and how we can really communicate in a much better manner. You would really agree with me that speaking today is a skill which is extremely important, and Speakology is a course that I've started which is called as the art of effective public speaking, how to speak well in public. And I normally move this in offline batches, which is face to face. But in today's era, I've also reinvented myself and I'm moving in online, which is also enabling me to meet up with people all across the world. And we're trying to move in from fear to impact. So if you look at it, speaking is the single skill that is required to be a good leader, a good communicator, a good leader. Speaking is something which is extremely important, and entire spectrum of communication also involves listening and hearing. So that's the whole spectrum that we have for Speakology, which enables a child to grow from wherever he or she is to a much larger area. So let me tell you something about a personal story. Some of you might be, aware of it. So most of my life, I have lived a very shy existence, and this is a picture of me in my childhood in a city called Pune. And if you notice, I'm practicing social distancing, right from Suresh. The building is behind, and you might feel, a person running a course on Speakology must be a very confident, very young, dynamic person. But let me tell you, I was born as a very shy person. I lived a very shy existence with a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty. I could hardly speak in front of a small crowd, and a very confused existence, that I ran most of my childhood days, right from age of whatever I could remember, 5, all the way till 20, 25. It was a very shy existence that I ran, and that's the story of my childhood, which is why I have a mission to help 1 billion children across India and the world to be able to communicate with impact before 2025. So this is the mission I've set out with, and all of you on the call are part of this mission, and hopefully I'll be able to connect with each of you to enable you all to communicate extremely well, and the path to success, we all know, is filled with three key categories. The first is communication, the second is communication, and the third also is communication. And this is the first secret that when you have to say something very important, you can reiterate it 2 or 3 times, power of three, and it impact goes through really well. Coming to the T. Harv formula, he's a person, well established speaker and leader in the US. He always mentioned 20% is what you do. So, what you do is in terms of you may be an engineer, or you may be a meteorologist, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or whatever it is. 20% is what you do. How you communicate what you do. And this is the secret of success. The way you communicate what you do is, for some strange reason, much more important than what you do. So that's again, the importance of communication, speaking, listening comes in from this particular formula of 2080. So normally the roadmap of Speakology, as I run it, is I try to initially move the child from fear to confidence, the ability to speak naturally, artificially, without any hang-ups, very in a simple manner, as inside to outside, and then move on to something called as presence, which is the art of bringing at the presence, which is a sort of a vibration, a sort of a person around the person or the child in the room. And then moving on to introduction, body, conclusion. Now that's coming to structure of the speech. We're trying to get into introduction, we're trying to get into body and conclusion. So we'll train them on the structure of the speech, which is getting a very harmonious flow, some sort of existence that the way the speech should be structured, and then coming on to voice, the way the voice should move on up, down, monotonous, rise and fall of pitch. And then come on to body language, simple body language techniques with some videos and some examples which you will learn. And stillness, the way one should be still. And this also leads on to silence and pause. Very strangely, a good speaker has a lot of stillness a lot of poise, a lot of silence. That gives a lot of confidence, in what you speak. It's not someone who speaks just, continuously like a good strain, coming in and out, but it's someone with a little bit of pause, silence, with a vacuum. This seems to attract the audiences. And all these tips are not just for one to, it can also be one to one. So, as a child, even if you're talking to your teacher, to your parent, to your friends, or to a small group, or to a large group, the tricks exactly remain the same. And then we move on to empathy and finally impact. So, this is a of Speakology and how we run the person in the 4 weeks, from a simple case of fear, very structured with a lot of practical experiential sessions on to, flow, voice, body language, empathy, and impact. So let's see some of the secrets of Toastmasters. And I personally been the president at Toastmasters. You have it there in various countries in the world and also an advanced communicator bronze. And a lot of secrets that I given is from this particular mode of the projects that I've done in Toastmasters, and I've been a winner at the table topics and also a winner at the international speech contest at the regional level. So I'm also the creator of Speakology platform, which is what we are witnessing right now, and the various secrets on how to speak well. Speaking is an acquired skill. As I mentioned, right in my childhood, I was a very shy person, but it's only in the last 15 years or so that I've started to learn this art of speaking, and it's an art that can be acquired and learned by anybody. This is the package that I have on Speakology, which is the art of effective public speaking, and with a lot of tips, videos, and keynote resources on a very structured manner of speaking, which I exactly told you a couple of slides ago. Remembering that 90% of how well the talk will go is determined before the speaker steps on the platform. And this is actually called presence. The presence of the person before he or she starts speaking is much, much more important than than the actual speech that he or she delivers. And the most precious things in speech are the pauses. So the way you pause, the way you relax is much more important than continuous flow of information. One should speak in such a manner that the speech should be slower than the thought. Your thinking should be always faster than your speech. So that's the secret of pauses. In presentations or speeches, less really is more. One should be concise, precise, and to the point. Otherwise, it's like a huge ocean of river, You're lost in all the words around you. What I also train people is to have a relaxed mind. And a relaxed mind really can lead to contemplation and focus. Having the presence in the present moment, a relaxed mind, can really lead to a lot of contemplation, a lot of focus around what you say or do. So the 4-week online course, which I propose to start on April 6th, is 8 virtual group Zoom sessions on Zoom every Monday and Thursday at a mutually convenient time to all the children. And this will also have homework in between, which means practice sessions in between, which you do with your parents, because of course now all of us are at home, and chats for clarification. So I'll be creating a virtual chat, virtual WhatsApp group, and we can have some chats, for clarifications that we go through. Access to all the Speakology Udemy videos, which I have created and done on Udemy, and access to the keynote resources. So this is the 8 virtual group sessions that I have on Zoom starting April 6th. And this will give all the secrets to any child, in 2 categories. I run it for 7 to 11, which is the younger category. And then the older category is, 11 to 16, where they will learn simple tips and tricks on how to speak in a much more effective manner. Tricks of speaking. You start with fear, and then we move on to IBC, which is introduction, body, conclusion. Then the speech, flow of the speech, as it goes on. The way one presents themselves in terms of body language, the presence on the screen, the art of empathy, impact, the way you connect to the audience. Few things you need to remember when you begin speaking, and this is important whether you join this course or not, to be natural and to have a very natural way of talking, as inside, so outside, nothing artificial. Naturalness leads to flexibility, flexible approach. It's when you give a speech, if you have a paper and you're kind of reading from the paper, you're disconnecting the audience. The audience is one which should connect you to what you're going to speak, and it should change as the audience changes. So the same thing, what you say to a group of two should change to another group of two, or probably another group of 10, or another maybe a one group of 1. Depending on the audience. So that's flexibility. It leads to vulnerability, and which also leads to that talking. So this particular 4-week online course is structured in a very beautiful manner, and I'd like to give you a couple of videos of some of my students who have gone through in offline sessions that I've had in the last 1 year. So this particular girl, her name is Ashika, and she's in 7th standard, and she went through this course. And you can just have a look at how she talks towards the end of the course.
Hello everybody, I'm Darshika and I'm here to speak about my best vacation. Vacations are something we always enjoy and always look forward to. They break the monotony of our daily routine and help us feel rejuvenated. All of us must have gone on many vacations, but we always have that one vacation that we always cherished and loved. Well, I do have one such vacation. We all know that summers is the time when we go on a long break to some place to enjoy. Last year, I went on a trip to few of the European countries and states. We visited many places like Switzerland, Italy, Paris, Florence, Capri, etc. It was a really fun experience as I went to a different continent with different people and cultures. We visited many wonders of the world, including the Colosseum and the Eiffel Tower. It was a new experience as I could meet different kinds of people and I tried many different cuisines. Overall, the whole experience was really amazing. But the best part that I liked about the tour was our stay in Switzerland. Switzerland with beautiful sceneries, the lush green fields, the high-rise mountains. Oh, I was on cloud 9. The weather over there was really pleasant and I felt as though I was in paradise. Overall, it was a really relaxing experience and I really enjoyed my stay in Switzerland. Thank you.
So if you notice, there was an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Eye contact. The way she was putting eye contact to various people, and this is not how when she came in, she was quite shy, but we trained them to run eye contact, body language, introduction, what is the vacation all about, body, structure, and finally the conclusion. So let's see another speech.
Favorite teacher. Teachers are there to help you throughout, but there's one teacher that helps you, that motivates you, and is always with you. My favorite teacher is. I still remember the day one when I came to Hyderabad and I went to school. She was the only teacher which supported me. I had ICSE books in science and I did not know what to do. It was so hard for me to study that I was on the verge of crying. But she helped me out throughout the science period, telling me to do it step by step and just continue moving forward without taking pressure. She will always be that one teacher in my life who will keep on inspiring me, who motivating me the entire life. Thank you.
So this was another speech done by participant, aged 12 years and on the best teacher. So let's look at the testimony by 8-year-old.
I thoroughly enjoyed Deepak sir's classes. They have given me the confidence the body language suggestions, the 1-minute speech exercises have all trained me to complete a positive approach towards public speaking and presentations. Thank you so much, sir.
Lovely testimony, and she also went through this small session that we did. So now in this particular era of online speeches, so I've been running this session on Zoom, and this is one of the examples of a particular session I had last week. And
got many medals, certificates, and I guess people got to know that I'm good in running. So, and after this, I've gone to many tournaments, and to conclude this, I would say that everything starts by a motivation at the start. So if you have to start something, you need motivation and push up from the behind so that you can get to what you want.
Yeah, so this was the age 12 to 16 category. I also am running for the 7 to 11. So this was some of the clippings I've recently taken. This is all, very recently taken post the lockdown that we have been running these online sessions. So this 4-week online course starts on April 6th, and we have 8 virtual group sessions in the 2 age categories. Zoom. And normally, if you look at it, this is priced at 40,000 INR, and unlimited chats for clarifications, and access to Udemy videos and resources. And the entire pricing of this comes to close to 55,000. The value, the price that one would really put for to speak well, which is a skill very necessary for any child as they go ahead. And but of course, lockdown season where people are strung around them. So I'd like actually to give a huge discount. So it's not really 55,000. It's much lesser. It's not even 40. It's not even 20. It's not even 10. So I want to do it at a extremely low price of 2750, which is palatable for any person, India and abroad, which will ensure that the child can speak very well. So just to repeat, it's 8 virtual groups. Homework in between, 1 hour session, the homework in between, chats for clarifications, access to the entire set of Speakology videos, and access to keynote resources. And this is something which is starting on April 6th. This is the payment links for all those who want to pay it. You can pay it right now. It's an amazing price, that we must bounce upon. The program starts on April 6th and will run on for a month. And we'll try to put it a mutually convenient and ensure that we get the best out of it. So with that, I come to a conclusion of this entire putting the link out, and also my number, which is 9830391.
984073039.
Yeah, this is my own WhatsApp number, and this is some
980-730-391.
So good. Thank you so much for chiming in and watching in, and looking forward to see you on board starting next week and hearing more about how we can take it together. Thank you again, once again.